Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brandon McGee, current state rep for the 5th Assembly District, and we're here at Parker Memorial Community Center in the heart of North End, and we're so glad to be here to welcome our governor, our mayor, Speaker of the House, Attorney General, who else am I missing, and my colleague, State Representative Dave Arconti, and others here to celebrate and to also acknowledge the great work that's happening on the state level and even on the city level with respect to access to broadband Wi-Fi. One might suggest that this is an urban versus rural situation. I'm here to debunk that it's not a myth, but the commentary that goes along with this, and say that it's an all-people challenge. And I am so excited that we're doing the bill signing right here in the North End of Hartford that will represent the entire state. So at this time, I'd like to bring to the podium our mayor, Mayor Luke Bronin, for the city of Hartford. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Representative McGee, and thank you for welcoming us here to your district. And we're so proud to welcome all of you here to the City of Hartford and to Parker Memorial Center. Governor, thank you so much for choosing to do this bill signing right here at Parker in the 06120. I also want to give a shout out to all of the young people who are here with us today. They're behind the cameras, but we've got a good crew from our Unity Summer 2021, and it's great to see you here. Because at the end of the day, you are why this bill and this work is so important. You know, if we've learned anything over the last 18 months, it's that broadband and high service, high speed internet is not a nice to have. It is a must have for almost every aspect of life, whether it is for access to school, ability to do your job remotely, ability to search for a job. In almost every way, you need a good internet connection to be able to operate in the world today. And that's not going to stop when the pandemic stops. That's the new world. So I am so grateful on behalf of Hartford, but on behalf of our whole state, to all of our legislators, to Speaker Ritter, Representative McGee, all of their colleagues across the state who made this piece of legislation happen, and Governor, for your leadership and your team's leadership, and for signing this. You know, what's so important about, there's a lot of things important about this bill, and I'll leave it to others to talk about some of the details, but one of the things that's so important is that for the first time, there will be a systematic effort to identify the weak spots, not at a census tract level, but at the individual block level, to really see where those gaps are so that they can be filled and fixed. That really matters. And that matters all the more because if this federal infrastructure package is passed, we will have an opportunity for the first time in many, many years to make the investment that's needed and necessary to fill those gaps. So this work will lay the groundwork and let us access that opportunity on behalf of this community and so many others across the state, urban and rural alike. Finally, I just want to say, you know, here in Hartford, we're proud to have tried to move the ball forward by launching a citywide free Wi-Fi effort. We're still in the midst of it, but in the Northeast neighborhood and in Frog Hollow, there's now a free Hartford citywide Wi-Fi, free Hartford Wi-Fi that you can access, and that represents our attempt to move the ball forward. You know, as we said from the start, that's not a bridge, a full bridge across the digital divide, but it's at least a footbridge. It makes some progress. But this work will allow us to position Hartford and cities around the state to take advantage of the resources now available to really change the game, to close that digital divide, to make sure that opportunity to access the internet is widely and equally shared. So again, to all of our legislative leaders, Attorney General Tong, Governor Lamont, thank you for your leadership on this. On behalf of the City of Hartford, we're grateful. And now my privilege to introduce our next speaker, who needs no introduction, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Matt Ritter, and of course also a proud son of Hartford, who we are so proud to partner with every day. Speaker Ritter.
All right. The mayor did a great job. Let me also recognize a few other folks that are here today. I know Representative Arconti is going to speak, the chairman of the Energy and Technology Committee in the House, and the hard work he put in with the governor's staff, I know. But also we have private industry here, folks. At the end of the day, this isn't just going to happen because government passed a law, right? These things are going to happen because we have a public-private partnership. And in Connecticut, the governor's made that a real priority under his leadership. So the way we're going to deliver internet to Hartford and to rural Connecticut, which is, think about that for a second, right? As we sit here in Hartford, where Luke and I'm from and Brandon's from, right? And we all represent Hartford. This bill had support from folks in Eastern Connecticut and Western Connecticut, rural areas, suburban areas, because there's similar problems. Kent, Connecticut had the same problem as parts of Hartford, the inability to have internet access. So working with our private companies to make that a reality across the state, not just in Hartford, is a big deal. And as the mayor said, and then I'll introduce the Attorney General, you can never speak too shortly in a program like this, all right, with a lot of public speakers behind me. But look, at the end of the day, I don't know, I've heard you before. Remember one thing, though, and I mean this seriously at the end of the day. The world did change, and the mayor was right about that. He was 100% right. Connecticut is in such a different position in 2021 than when I started in the legislature in 2011 or even in 2017. It used to be we're not New York or Boston. We put our hands in our head and we'd whine about it and we'd cry about it. Now, I know so many people my age and younger who have taken jobs, and the job is headquartered in Boston or New York. And guess what? They work from home 3 or 4 days a week. They work from home two times a week, and they make the commute when they have to. But guess what? You need high-speed internet that is reliable and that is accessible to everyone in the state of Connecticut. We've seen a huge population boom, in particular, out by the New York border. We're going to take their lunch. Our taxes are lower, and if we can provide internet to those folks, and especially in Litchfield County and in the Danbury area where David is from, it's going to be a game changer for our economy. It is not a surprise to me that you've seen our budget surplus grow to $2 billion. Yes, COVID funds and the federal government's had a part in that, but it's also because we have 35,000 people or so that moved into the state of Connecticut. They are higher earners, and they're paying taxes to subsidize all the resources we need to make this a great state. So the internet is very much connected to our economic growth as a future. So I'm proud to be here today. Thank you to the governor and the legislators who worked hard on this with myself and others. And let me introduce my dear friend, the Attorney General of the state of Connecticut, who has great Hartford ties as well, William Tong.
It's good to be home in Hartford and to be with my very good friend, Brandon McGee. Thank you for hosting us in your district. Mr. Speaker, Mayor, Dave, I'm jealous by your hair there. And Governor, it's great to be with you, and thank you for your leadership on this and the legislature. Let me thank a couple of partners. First, the Office of Consumer Counsel. I think I see Bert over there. Thank you so much for your leadership on this. And looking at these young people here on a summer day, I think all of us who get a chance to work in public policy and make investments in education, for a long time we thought about buildings like this and machines and computers and how important beautiful, wonderful schools and community centers and physical technology is to your future and to opening up the world to all of you and young people across Connecticut. But access to affordable, fast, reliable broadband is every bit as important. And as the speaker just said, that is really unlocking the world to all of us and to all of you. And so nothing could be more important to your futures and our future, which is so much invested in all of you, than this initiative today. I want to thank the representatives of various private sector companies and the broadband industry. We tussle from time to time because it's my job to make sure that people in Connecticut get access to affordable, fast, and reliable broadband. But they're an indispensable partner. And this bill includes incentives and mechanisms to strengthen that partnership. And so I want to thank you for being supportive of this effort, but also for making the investments that are necessary to bring broadband and this future to everyone in our state. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. The speaker's making fun of me because of my notes, but he's never had a chair energy technology, so he doesn't know how difficult this subject matter is.
I still appoint that chair, though, I'll tell you that.
I do want to thank the speaker for letting me also bring out, all my bills, when they're finished. But anyway, no, I'm Dave Arconti. I'm state representative for Danbury's 109th District. And I'm the House Chair of the Energy and Technology Committee. I do want to, say we are missing my Senate co-chair, Senator Needleman, and our ranking members, Senator Formica, and Representative Ferraro, who couldn't be here today, but I know they send their best wishes. I was very proud of this bill and the bipartisan nature that it ended up being. It passed both chambers on a strong bipartisan vote, and we take pride in the Energy and Technology Committee by passing big policy initiatives in a broad bipartisan manner. And I do want to do a special thank you to Claire Coleman at OPM and Johnny Dock from the governor's office. They were right there with me working on this and negotiating this bill over Zoom, of all things, during the session. And I'll hit on some of the couple, big picture items that the bill does that I think are going to be important as a result of this legislation that's about to be signed. State of Connecticut is going to have the best in the country broadband maps, because we're going to be requiring broadband providers to provide OPM with information to develop and maintain up-to-date broadband mapping, which is going to better serve DEEP in how they deploy the grant program to underserved areas across the state to get to that last mile. And I really do want to commend the industry folks that are here today for sticking with me. And us, working on the mapping section in particular and the other sections. They really saw the vision that the governor had for Connecticut in this policy arena, and they were more than happy to stick with us and work with us. The bill also will add 10 positions over at the Public Utilities Regulatory Agency to help further regulate these fine folks, and those positions I know are sorely needed. And lastly, I just want to say that I'm really proud of the big initiatives my committee has worked with over the last 3 years with the governor. All of our big policy initiatives and accomplishments like broadband, offshore wind, energy storage, and Take Back Our Grid Act have passed both chambers in a strong bipartisan vote, which is not something we're accustomed to seeing these days. So with that, I would like to introduce Doug Casey to provide some more comments.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Doug Casey with the state's Commission for Educational Technology. Our group has been working to close the digital divide for years, and under Governor Lamont's leadership through the Everybody Learns initiative, we spent the last year working with our cable partners, cell providers, families, and schools to make sure that students were connected for remote learning when they were at home. And in speaking with those families, there's such great appreciation for what broadband can do for them. It allows them to connect and stay closer to their parent-teacher conferences. It allows them to look for jobs and engage with state agencies and just be engaged at a much deeper level as citizens of this state. And that's all hopeful, and it's a great start. And so it's with this bill that I really commend Governor Lamont and members of the General Assembly for championing this effort. Because what it means is we're going to make sure that every citizen in the state is not disenfranchised, has access to high-speed broadband for economic development, for personal development, for learning, and to stay connected. As we've seen, it's so important over the last 15 months. And so I am standing here very excited to move forward in helping any way we can to make sure that every single citizen in this state gets access to affordable, high-quality broadband. Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
And now I'd like to introduce our governor, Governor Ned Lamont.
Fast work, Brandon. Let me just say, look, as the speaker said, expansion of broadband is key to our economic future. we've been pretty well positioned as a state. Thanks to our private sector partners, we are one of the most wired states in the United States of America. What an enormous difference it makes. We've had tens of thousands of people every year moving into the state, especially the last 2 years, coming into the state. As you heard, you don't have to be in New York, you don't have to be in Boston, you don't even have to be in a big city all the time, and still, if you have internet access and it works and it's fast, you can be anywhere. And that really positions Connecticut so well. But it only tells part of the story. I mean, hey, you guys, Unity Camp, how many of you have really good high-speed internet access at your homes? Okay, maybe one. That tells a story. There are a lot of people still getting left behind. You're not going to get left behind in this world. If you don't have high-speed internet, you're at a disadvantage, and nobody back here is going to allow that to happen. It hurt you in terms of schooling last year, so hopefully your schools were open, you're able to go to school most of the time, but not all the time. You need internet. Your grandparents, when it came to health, it was telehealth. We didn't want everybody back and forth to the doctors. That was really important, and that's why this bill is doing everything we can to make sure we have 100% high-speed internet broadband access for each and every one of our citizens, small town, big city, nobody left behind. And the bill is important. I come out of this world. I have some familiarity with it. I appreciate what we're doing in the mapping. The mapping is going to tell us who's getting left behind, who's not. The mapping is going to better position us. We get the ARPA money coming from the feds. That's going to make us well-positioned to know where we ought to prioritize getting the internet access going. In the meantime, we've got free Wi-Fi, as you've heard, being made available, in small towns and big cities, on a regional basis, a localized basis, but at least you can go outside. If you're sitting outside, you're having a meal, you can also get free Wi-Fi as part of our great expansion of what we've got to do. But I'll say something else. I mean, we're going to get everybody wired. And this is sort of a light touch, gives you a roadmap. Here's what we got to do. Here's some federal funding. We can provide our 25%. We can provide our 35%, we, the taxpayers of the state. We can help out your parents when it comes to $50 a month to make that internet access a little more affordable. And if that's not enough, Frontier and Altice and Charter, I mean, when I was in the cable business, we were required to provide, cable TV throughout. When FDR realized how important electricity was, he had the Rural Electrification Act, he required, even back then it was the smallest towns, to make sure everybody had electricity. There's some other things we can do. You can have one touch for the make ready, something I'm pretty familiar with. Make it easier for you to get those wires on the ground. But hopefully, working together right now, we're going to get everybody wired. We can get everybody wired on a timely basis. We're going to have the maps to do it. We're going to have the subsidies to do it. So next time I'm standing here and I ask you guys how many of you have high-speed internet access, so you're not just playing games, but you're learning and health and maybe working remotely, you'll all be raising your hands. That's going to be a good day for us. Thanks, everybody. You guys want to come up and help us? Yes, sir.
You know what, Governor? Why don't they get the pens, too?
Yep, I got some
Really nice
plastic big pens. You're going to love them. Your speaker's got me on.
What do I do? Hey, guys, here, come here. I'll help out. Here. I hope he has enough. Here.
Well, he may not have enough.
Someone else likes to do this job, and I'm going to help out today. So, how many we got? We got a few more. We got enough. I do. Got a few more. Here we go. You want? Hi, Troy. How you doing?
Troy.
Hey. And we got 4 left. How many we got left?
4. You got one.
You got to break it in half.
Take your cat. Take your cat.
These right
Where do
here.
you got? Right here? Come on.
You got 2 more?
Looks like the governor's got, we got 3 more. I got one right here.
She needs one. He needs one. So 2 more.
All right, perfect.
The speaker leaves you out. Remember his name. I'm the guy to hand it to.
Max, did your boys get?
funding for the pens. All right, give me that last one, Governor. There we go. Thank you. Who didn't get the last one here?
One of his boys over there.
You all got one, Rich?
Oh, he didn't get
I
one.
didn't think so. Buddy. Thanks. All right. Good job.
I'll get you, Max. All right. Give it to Max's kids. They didn't get a pick.
What's that? A copy of the bill? Right there? All right.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Good work.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for your